Rape is among the most prevalent human rights violations in Nigeria. This is News Hour coming to you live on GBC News and GTV. Hello, good evening. I am Siyoko Kwakuchre.
My name is Shirley and I'm Jonathan Intim Darko, translates the news into sign language. We start off with business. Esther Edu Ohumewu is standing by with that segment. Please stay. News, this is business brought to you by MTN. My name is Esther Edu Ohumewu. In the 2022 budget statement presented to Parliament today, the Minister for Finance, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, highlighted some revenue measures to improve revenue collection into government's coffers. These include a VAT rate for retailers with annual turnover of 500,000 Ghana cedis, a review of the temporary benchmark discount policy on imports, and also the removal of road tolls on public roads and bridges.
Subsequent reforms to the taxes on the supply of goods and services have made local goods of imported substitutes uncompetitive. Government is correcting this anomaly by limiting the flat rate to only retailers. All other supply of goods and services will attract the standard rate. The object of the flat rate is to provide a simplified system for small-scale enterprises. To ensure that this objective is achieved, the rate will be applied to retailers with annual turnover not exceeding 500,000 Ghana cedis. All other retailers and wholesalers will be charged the standard rate. After 2.5 years of operation, the temporary benchmark discount policy on imports introduced as a stopgap measure has been reviewed to make it more efficient and better targeted. This is consistent with government policy to promote local industry and improve foreign exchange.
Government is to introduce a levy on all electronic transactions to widen the tax net and rope in the informal sector. In presenting the 2022 budget statement, the Finance Minister, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, said the levy dubbed the e-levy would cover electronic transactions on mobile money payments, bank transfers, merchant payments, and inward remittances.
Mr. Speaker, as a country, we still rely heavily on debt financing to meet a significant portion of our expenditures compared to our peers. It is instructive to note that on the expenditure side, for instance, interest payments and compensation payments alone amounted to 48.7 billion, which is 103.3% of total revenue and grants for January to September 2021. In fact, Mr. Speaker, these two expenditure items absorb all the revenue collected for the period. This trend must be reversed.
Still on the budget, government would introduce the youth start by the first quarter of 2022. The program will ensure that government, in partnership with the private sector, will provide 1 million jobs annually for the youth through the Youth Start program, while providing soft loans of up to 50,000 Ghana cedis respectively to youth entrepreneurs.
Mr. Speaker, YouStart will provide our youth with the following: training, skills development, entrepreneurial support, and business advisory services, funding, access to competitive credit and startup packs, enterprise promotion, mentoring, and access to markets, including portals to facilitate digital linkages between youth-led enterprises and other businesses and relevant government agencies.
The minority in Parliament has raised concerns about the country's debt position, which the project will hit 350 billion by close of the year, 81% of GDP. The NDC group is also worried that 1.75% taxation on mobile money transactions will worsen the plight of the Ghanaian. The majority has, however, been presenting a fierce defense to the 2022 budget. I'll bring you some reactions from Okaishi after the budget was read.
Of pharmaceutical products. Before the presentation of the 2022 budget, one of the issues much talked about was the benchmark value. And earlier, the Ghana National Chamber of Pharmacy wanted the government to reverse the planned removal of the benchmark import value on pharmaceutical products. The chamber believes that failure to reverse the policy will lead to the increase of prices of medicine and other medical supplies. Not only that, they fear the impact will result in the high cost of healthcare delivery with its attendant cost implications on NHIS medicines, which will affect patients in general. However, the chamber was demanding a review of the discount of the benchmark value on some products. The affordability, accessibility and improvement of patients' care are the overriding objective of the current benchmark policy for pharmaceutical products, meaning the state loses on the removal of benchmark and the increase of final retail price it pays for medicines under the NHIA. As it stands, the finance minister has indicated that government is yet to review the benchmark value issue that has been talked about. As it stands, the pharmaceutical shops we have visited so far are saying that they are keeping their fingers crossed, patiently waiting for the government to review the benchmark value issue they have been talking about all this while.
The way I near my airport, say the extra bed will be a bomb money, so they had to. You know, to me, the way things are going, and costs are, like if possible, and for but I said, I was going to use our tax if you now I'm going to send an education. I think they're going to bring a lot of hardship on the consumer. But we say no. Skip out the better summer. We should make family the summer consumer. At the end of the day, it's the consumer who is going to suffer. To me, I think that buy in Yanisa, Senate, say, and no, a discount about my Numuna, you to me, Diana. I mean, why not? Because Ghana has a Uja, Kofoka Crabby to your tax. Kofoka Crabby, you know, so mobile and Sananka, a beck of Bia, my nature Bia. I think, say, yeah, the set a motorway say, post cars, no nay, passenger cars now, Mulodo, Munyas coming to honor, at least but yet Tisoka cra. Sabia, like taxi to your 2 cities and I think, say, you could about Omuye few crown, I think, say, to me, no, and yet in the right direction.
Oh, sir, I might be an crown fast with any sick day. If so far as I would die road to or that question on them. The end of the day, no, but anything can every one. That's the reason why I'm going to road to no. To benefit free. So I send this car every one of them. And I hundred them because MT and this are done networks, no. I'm benefit money may be free. So the question on my even say only far better. In the young ABU and a fine. As a tone now much in the young who be a woman gonna have. Oko dan so man ye ho pot host
Kaneshi here first light. Yes, your company and sana ombaye. Sika mojiji tonu omdi day. Oh, Sika the most senior taxi and the whole weather the baby house and scare yet. Baby and the Cassiano and maybe a Sunday and ba say Kakira to penny Sikana sending a year to the and the me problem.
Two the 1 and 2 rooms just can I to me bois and the year and put to you maybe. Sounds like the county at the moment they possible, but two need the one tissue. And I can have a send and I want to bet tissue. I just want to impress say bet 2 tasks. I say you are selling 10,000 maybe an hour, be a very a year.
Let's now take the minority and majority response to the budget. We apologize, but I will bring you that later. And that's it for business.
Is the issue of debt sustainability. In fact, according to the Minister of Finance, Ghana's public debt stood at 341.76 billion Ghana cedis as of September 2021. This is what he just told us. This marks an increase of 221.76 billion over the 120 billion they inherited in the year 2017. With a debt to GDP ratio of 56%. This huge increase is as a result of borrowing occasioned by a record of 15.6% deficit and a primary balance of 8.8% in the year 2020. The huge and unsustainable debt overhang has led Ghana to lose access to the international financial market due to total loss of confidence in our ability to meet further debt service obligations. Again, we had expected that the 2022 budget will show clear signs of how government intends to reduce the public debt and regain the confidence of the investors. Unfortunately, the budget presented by the finance minister does not offer much hope that this one is going to happen. In view of the above, we project that the public debt will hit 355 billion Ghana cedis by the end of December 2021, representing 82% of GDP, which is the highest since EPIC.
I am a chairman of the Ghana Road Fund Board, and I know the problems of our contractors. Inconsistency in payment, they are overburdened. Now government says it is levying this 1.75% on Momo, that is the electronic levy, to achieve two major things. One, to make funds available for our contractors to be paid regularly so that they can go back to site, so that more roads can be constructed and maintained. But two, the major boost for private sector, which is the Youth Entrepreneurship Support Program. Now, government is introducing a program where our youth at the various districts, small scale, can have up to 10,000. And if they are graduates who have their startups and want expansion, they can have up to 50,000. And where they are a medium scale, they have between 100 and 500,000. The good news is that government is guiding this investment into the private sector by channeling this through the private financial institutions. So it's not going to be goodies from government, but companies that have properly registered and have gone through training, these individuals will be encouraged to register with the banks, and through that the banks will take them through the process of giving them that financial support. This will be a concessionary facility, and I believe that it will bring a lot of relief.
Away from the capital, our regional correspondents have been speaking to the public on how they viewed the budget. From the northern region, GBC News correspondent Mutala Issa reports that farmers have welcomed the interest rate subsidy announced by government, saying it is a positive development for the agricultural sector.
The announcement of subsidies to the rice, soybeans and poultry sector in terms of interest rates has also made a positive impression on residents here. However, peasant farmers in the region are concerned that the announcements in subsidy remains just a benefit to commercial farmers, and they are left out because they do not have collateral to go to the banks and access loans, and for that matter, the interest rates will not in any way inure to their benefit. What peasant farmers, and when I say peasant farmers, they are in the majority in the northern region. They are asking government to consider setting aside an alternative financing model for peasant farmers across the country. They say the current interest rates are unacceptable. It is too high for them. And above all, they are not even able to access the banks because they do not have the required collateral to go in for loans. They believe that if government sets aside a new financing model to support peasant farmers, it will go a long way to lift more people out of poverty and to increase food security in this country. Mutala Issa for GBC News.
Some transport operators have expressed misgivings over government's decision to work on the Solar-Wa Highway next year as captured in the 2022 budget, while business operators say the introduction of the electronic transaction levy will take away all their profits. Swala Abdul Wahab has more.
Government in the budget indicated that the Wa Solar Road, which is in a bad shape, will be worked on next year. We are here at the VIP station where most of the drivers here by the road to find out what they have made of the promise.
In 2022, they will work Bole Solar Road to Wa. So if actually they will do that, it will favor our vehicle because you can use 3 hours now before you get to Solar. But first time it wasn't like that.
The abolition of the road to is good. Right now to the lorry fare, some of the passengers cannot afford them. Assuming I'm going to send 1,000 to somebody, sometimes I do send 20,000 to somebody. To people like if I buy goods sometimes in Kumasi or Accra, I do send 20,000, 30,000. So assuming they will be, that deduction will be going through, it will be too much for us. Because if they will deduct 70 pesos per each 100 cedis, now multiply by 20,000 and see. So we are not going forward. Some of the drivers are skeptical about the promise of the government to work on the road between Solar and Wa next year. They said this is not the first time such a promise has been made. They, however, said they put their hope in the president to ensure that the promise this time around will be fulfilled.
And that was Business brought to you by MTN and Whirlpool. Thanks for watching.
Thank you very much for staying on. The National Director of Campaign for Female Education, CAMFED, Ms. Sally Ofori-Yeboah, adequate resources at the Girls Education Unit at the Ghana Education Services impacting negatively on its activities. She says the unit is often supported by charity organizations to be able to function.
She commended the Girls Education Unit at the Ghana Education Service for spearheading re-entry into schools and the re-entry policy back to school for teenage pregnant girls. The National Director of CAMFED was speaking at the inauguration of an advocacy for social inclusion and girls education women's center in Sumbungu in the Bolgatanga municipality of the Upper East region.
ASIJ is a non-profit organization seeking to improve the lives of vulnerable young women, particularly teenage mothers. Currently, ASIJ has empowered 30 young female basket weavers and dressmakers among others. Out of the number, 21 are teenage mothers and 9 also dropped out of school due to lack of financial support. ASIJ has also engaged over 400 rural women in 6 communities in the Bongo district and the Bolgatanga municipality. ASIJ's basketry project has an important role in the development of rural Ghana, especially women and girls. ASIJ transforms straw from elephant grass into innovative and modern stylish product capable of replacing everything that plastic bags are used for in the home and outdoor events. Speaking with GBC News, the Chief Executive of ASIJ Foundation, Madame Doka Sapori, said her foundation focuses on women empowerment, girls' education, disability inclusion, gender equality, poverty reduction, basketry, climate change mitigation, among others.
In the next 5 years, we should be able to reach out to 5,000 women and young people from the street with our basket project as well as with the vocational skills training. And we are calling on individuals outside the international organizations to come support us so that we can make this real change in our society.
The Bongo District Director of the Girl Child Education Unit at the GES expressed worry over the high number of teenage pregnancies in the various schools.
Averagely, in every year, we report about 40 and above getting pregnant, some of them going back to school, and some of them also enrolling now.
The National CAMFED Director, Ms. Sally Ofori-Yeboah, lauded government for the current education strategic plan that focuses on girls' education.
The challenge with the Girls' Education Unit is that there isn't a lot of resources or there isn't a lot of financing. And so you find that even though it's in the Ghana Education Service, it is often supported by NGOs to be able to implement their activities. And so as the minister reads his budget, we're looking forward to hearing that the ministry, which is the Ministry of Education, has enough resources. But then once you go to the Ministry of Education, the Girls' Education Unit is also giving some attention and some budget to be able to sort of implement all of these policies that they have put in place.
At ASIJ, most of the women engage in agriculture produce, retailing of imported manufactured goods, textiles, crafts, among others.
GBC's Radio Central has launched its 25th anniversary with a call on civil society groups, the traditional authorities and industry to support its efforts to help shape our society for development. Speaking at the launch, the regional director, Mr. Alex Ashi, said GBC has stepped up efforts to meet the growing demands in the media landscape through technology and quality content. He used the occasion to commend the past and present employees of the station for their contributions.
Established on the 8th of November 1996 with a core mandate to support civic education, health and culture among others, GBC Radio Central has over the years helped to promote peace and development through its programming. The local FM station was inaugurated by the then President Jerry John Rawlings in the midst of challenges and highly competitive nature of today's media landscape. GBC Radio Central remains committed to its core mandate to serve the needs of the people in the Central Region and beyond. At the launch of the 25th anniversary, the Regional Director, Mr. Alex Ashi, paid glowing tribute to the forebears of the station and commended the present staff for their hard work, which is shaping the socio-cultural environment.
The best way to make things happen is through the deep understanding of staff and the aspiration that can be achieved by the perfect blend of demand, winning performance and compassionate side for the staff. Team can perform best only when it is united. I am extremely proud of my team, and I can wholeheartedly say that I have the best human resource in my organization, Radio Central.
In a remark, the chairman of the Anniversary Plan Committee, Mr. Kofi Sesiama-Pubi, said GBC Radio Central has stepped up its operations, especially on social media. He said new programs such as Palace Diaries would soon be introduced to help promote the cultural heritage of the people. There were solidarity messages from partners such as ADB and Ridge Royal Hotel, who have kept faith with the station through sponsorship. Launching the anniversary, the acting director of radio, Mr. Yao Upokwe Japan, who was part of the pioneers of the station, recounted his days at Radio Central and was encouraged by the new initiative to improve programming.
And the creativity be ozaba. Palace News, Palace Stories, blah blah blah. On normal radio, Central, station. The way to go is teamwork. It's on my way. It's on your way. It is the way. It is a young na yanku yenima.
The anniversary is on the theme 25 years of local broadcasting, the role of GBC Radio Central in enhancing development for Central Region. Government is to place a ban on exploitation of charcoal to check deforestation in the country. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Mr. Samuel Jinapor, said the ministry is assessing reports of an increase in exports of charcoal for pharmaceutical and industrial purposes, and a ban will be instituted if investigations confirms the report. On his tour of the Bono region, the Minister for Land and Natural Resources interacted with the Bono East RESEC and the House of Chiefs. He urged the chiefs to partner with government to better manage the country's forests. He said a ban on charcoal exports will be instituted if necessary.
At the Busi, and no one knew ever your mind, as a Yedikan. Quiet, Ghana quiet. Ghana, a fanebe, quiet in Asa. And then timber, wawa, rosewood, Midna, Oko, regions in Ogan, Ibidibubi.
At a media briefing, the minister disclosed that going forward, the security agencies will be actively engaged to stop illegal logging.
I'm very happy to meet you. This particular matter is a matter that we've been grappling with for months, and I believe that arising out of this engagement, the Regional Security Council is going to set up a task force which will be dedicated to dealing with this particular canker and making sure that the individuals and groups who are involved in illegal lumbering in the Bono East are dealt with and brought to face the full contours of the laws of.
The Ministry of Communications and Digitalization has trained and introduced 1,000 girls to basic ICT skills and coding in the Northeast region. The project, which is being implemented by GIFEC NCA and the Kofi Annan ICT Center of Excellence through the Communications and Digitalization Ministry, is part of the second round of the 2021 biannual celebration of the Girls in ICT program.
The girls were selected from 6 districts: East Mamprusi Municipal, West Mamprusi Municipal, Bunkurugu, Nankpanduri, Triponi, Yoniyo Inswan, and Mamprugu, Mwagdiri, All in the Northeast region. The Girls in ICT program was introduced in 2012 by the International Telecommunications Union to create a global environment that empowers and encourages girls and young women to consider careers in the growing field of information and communications technology. Since its introduction, over 500,000 girls and women worldwide have benefited from this initiative. As part of the training program, the girls are introduced to scratch and basic structures of programming applications, after which they participate in the competition. This competition is expected to test the depth of knowledge and ICT skills acquired during the training period, including website design, development of games, coding and simple ICT applications. Mr. Prince Sefa is the Chief Executive of the Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications, GIFEC.
The Northeast, we're doing 1,100. So we're looking to expand, and because the program is so powerful, some of the girls that are being trained had never seen even a computer before. Others are getting skills that they never had before, and we train them for about 2 weeks, and then we also put them through some exams, try to find out those who are really paying attention, and then the top students, we give them awards.
The Director of Human Resource and Administration at GIFEC, Mr. Faisal Isaaku Najili, and the Director of Operations at GIFEC, Mr. Yaya Zakaria Osman, spoke with GBC News.
Went to every hamlet to find where there's no network, basically where people cannot make calls. And we acquire sites over there to build towers or masts to ensure that people all over this region are connected to
News just in, GBC News has learned that the General Legal Council of the Ghana School of Law has admitted the 499 students who were initially refused admission to the school. The candidates' admission to study the professional law course was in contention after they were denied admission for allegedly failing the school's entrance exam organized in August 2021.
The affected students, in a series of actions, including a lawsuit, protested their refusal to be admitted by the Ghana School of Law amid calling on the President, Parliament and other stakeholders to impress upon the GLC to rescind its decision. The latest move by the GLC comes days after the Attorney General, Mr. Godfrey Yeboadame, directed by President Akufo-Addo, wrote a letter to the General Legal Council to admit the 499 students to pursue the professional law course. This indeed is welcome news to the affected students who maintain they did not fail the entrance exam but were refused admission because of lack of space in the school. You're still watching News Are Live on GBC News. We take a break. When we come back, we'll do some more news. Please stay.
You are live on News Hour. Welcome to the Energy segment. I'm Dominic Honoji. Government is in talks with venture partners to revamp the Takrady 3 power plant as part of efforts to step up power generation. The $20 million T3 thermal plant in the Aboise Power Enclave in the Western region was left idle for about 6 years due to operational failures. Finance Minister Mr. Ken Oforiatta, who said this in Parliament, also explained that government is working to achieve 100% universal electricity coverage by 2024.
Government continues to expand power generation capacity to meet domestic, commercial and industrial needs of customers. In this regard, construction work on the 200 megawatt phase of the 400 megawatt early power project continued in 2021. Construction works for stage 1A are 99.7% complete, and works for the stage 18 combined cycle are 93% complete. In 2022, a joint venture partner will be engaged to undertake the repowering of the T3 power project with PRA. Mr. Speaker, to ensure power is affordable for industrial, commercial, and residential use, government in collaboration with key stakeholders continued with the renegotiation and restructuring of power purchase agreements. In pursuit of the President's aspiration to achieve universal coverage of electricity by 2024, a total of 162 communities were connected to the national grid, thereby increasing national electricity asset rate from 85.7% in 2020 to 86.63% in 2021. Connections to another 512 communities are at various stages of completion. In 2022, we'll work to complete many such projects, and approximately 800 towns will be connected to the national grid under the SHIP 5 and turnkey projects.
Ghana's overall hydro, thermal and solar generation was 62.6033 gigawatt hours within the last 24 hours. Benin, Togo and Burkina Faso received 5.4336 gigawatt hours of power from Ghana within the last 24 hours. Here are some more details. For hydro energy generated in the past 24 hours, Akosombo recorded 18.5950 gigawatt hours, Bong 3.1160 gigawatt hours, and Bui 5.9143 gigawatt hours. Here is what functional thermal power producers contributed to the generation mix within the period. The three hydro power plants produced 27.6253 gigawatt hours. Operational thermal power plants contributed 34.7584 gigawatt hours, and total solar generation was 0.2196 gigawatt hours. Overall power generation was 62.6033 gigawatt hours in the last 24 hours. For hydrology, the water level in the Akosombo Lake was 82.601 meters below the maximum level of 84.73 meters, while the level in the Bui Dam was 180.210 meters below the maximum elevation of 183 meters in the last 24 hours.
In a world where you can be anything, who will you become? When you can go anywhere and never be alone, how far will you go? When your voice can reach every ear in the world, who will you inspire? When your money can travel faster and further, who will it reach? When you can tell a story in every language, which one will you tell? When you don't need permission to turn your dreams into reality, you go for it. Whatever it is, wherever it is, go. And when you think you've reached your limit, We'll keep you going. Let's go.
Hi guys, today we are coming to you live from
brought to you by Lufat from Tobinco. The World Health Organization is calling on the world to institute measures to reduce the period with which babies born premature are separated from their mothers, as the United Nations designates the 17th of November each year to observe the challenges that compromise on the survival of preterm babies and faced by their families. WHO further wants countries to commit more resources to provide adequate for preterm babies.
It is estimated that 15 million babies are born preterm each year. 1 in 10 babies around the world is also born premature every year. Babies born premature have low birth weight, weighing 2.5 kilograms or less, and have a higher risk of developmental problems. Most babies born before 32 weeks may need help breathing and may be cared for in the neonatal intensive care unit until they have developed enough to survive on their own. Babies born between 32 and 37 weeks may need care in the special nursery. Although it is possible for babies born at 23 to 24 weeks to survive, it is risky. Prematurity is a leading cause of death in children less than 5 years. Each year, about 128,000 babies are born preterm in Ghana. Approximately 8,400 of the preterm babies die annually before they turn 5 years as a result of complications. 1 out of every 2 babies born at or below 32 weeks dies because of lack of warmth and breastfeeding support, as well as infections and breathing difficulties. In Ghana, preterm births increased from 9.3% to 18.9% from 2003 to 2019. Preterm babies face many health challenges such as asthma, diabetes, hearing problems, and neurodevelopmental disabilities, among others. Some of these health complications are lifelong. The day is being marked under the theme Zero Separation, with the tagline Act Now, Keep Parents and Babies Born Too Soon Together.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Lufat from Tobinco. International news is next.